Well, hey everyone, welcome back. Sorry for the interlude there. Yeah, so we weren't quite sure where we lost you there, so I'm going to go real quick through some of these initial slides just to catch you back up. So stop me if you've heard this one. But we're talking about safety and operational excellence in the age of IoT, and we are myself and Alex from Collinear. Anyway, so you remember we were talking about safety and the fact that even though it's a core value, there's a lack of commitment to invest in safety. Oftentimes it's treated as a cost center and something that's separate, and it's quite hard to do the ROI, when it's really just a cost center. So we were talking about how IoT could help that, and if you remember, what I was talking about was harking back a little bit to last year when I pointed out that really the operational excellence in assembly is all around understanding motion, understanding the movement, interaction, and location of all the critical parts and assets. Assembly is getting the right product and the right part and the right materials to the right place at the right time with the right person and the right tool with the right settings, et cetera, right? So it's a game, it's a complex dance of location, and if you don't know what's going on, you really can't control it properly. And so extending IoT into these processes is what we do, and we give your digital systems a visibility into what's actually happening in real time on the shop floor. And traditionally that gets used to help improve operational excellence. And I talked a little bit about these categories of process failures, and everything that I've seen in my 20 years in this business has fallen into one of these categories. When things go wrong, things are either in the wrong place, or the wrong things are interacting in a way they shouldn't be, or there are too many or too few things, or something's lasting too long or not long enough, or happening in the wrong order. And pretty much any place you see an assembly issue, you can fit it into one of those categories. And those are all about where is everything and what's happening right now on the shop floor. So I threw out some examples before. I think you may have seen these. I'm going to run through them real quick. Location issues, can't find the right tool accountability, big problem. FOD, that's a location issue, something in the wrong place. Interaction, traveled work might mean that if you don't update the ERP, then the materials might get delivered to the wrong workstation, and now you've got material and the product that don't match because the product's already moved on. That's an interaction issue. Count, missing rivets. Unexpected traveled work is a count of tasks. You need to know how many tasks and what they are so you can allocate the correct time in the station. Time, overrunning processes is obviously very common, especially at the comparatively low volume of aerospace, and that's the big impact on rate. And sequence. When we talk about sequence, I kind of segued a little bit into safety and talked about putting protections on. You shouldn't be working on a hatch without the hatch stay in place to make sure that somebody's not going to get crushed. And if that's not done in the right sequence, the protection before the task, then that's an issue. And that kind of segues us into thinking about safety in the same terms as we think about operational accidents. And what we were talking about before the power went out there in the Northwest was this new safety thing we all had to think about in 2020 of contact tracing and social distancing. And it seemed like something entirely new and entirely different, and if we were going to throw solutions in this and technologies, they'd be additional overlay technologies to the ones that we already had. And I say that's completely wrong, because every aspect of contact tracing and social distancing also falls into one of these 5 categories. For example, the location of walls and barriers, keeping people safe from each other. Interaction is the primary thing that we care about in contact tracing, and potentially also the count if we set, for example, occupancy limits in conference rooms. We also care about the time. Those interactions might be fleeting interactions as people walk past each other, or they could be long conversations, and those are different things from the point of view of contagion. And sequence as well, sharing. I use an object or a workstation, and then you use it after me. That's potentially a contagion vector. If it gets cleaned in between me and you using it, then you're fine. So the sequence of things happening is critical as well. So the point here was that just thinking about safety as something no different at all from optimizing operations if you know in real time what's happening everywhere on the shop floor, and that is digitized, then in software you can do many and wondrous things. And the way that safety fails in general, I mean, there are the two categories of those five that are really key are location and interaction, being in the wrong place and doing the wrong thing, right? Most of the time, that is what a safety incident is. Something vulnerable being somewhere dangerous when it shouldn't have been, right? Location or interaction. So we said, it's not apples and oranges, right? It's not a question of apple-flavored accident detection and avoidance technologies over on one side there and an orange-flavored process optimization error-proofing on the other side. It's not that at all. They're subsets of the same problem. Everything you have to do to optimize processes is the same as you have to do to optimize safety, and therefore, shouldn't you be able to leverage the same tools to do both and take an integrated digital approach to safety and operational excellence? And the answer is, of course, you can. So that's when I think we probably lost you around about here before. And it's right when the main event came on stage, which was Alex. So Alex, if you wouldn't mind, Alex is going to talk about doing exactly this in the real world, taking an operational digitization platform and applying that to a safety application. So Alex.
All right, thanks for the reintroduction there, Adrian. So a little bit about Collinear Group. We are a Pacific Northwest professional services and consulting company, and we primarily specialize in providing innovative solutions to clients that operate in highly complex and highly regulated industries. We have seen a huge surge in demand over the last couple of years for our Industry 4.0 services for clients that are looking to deploy or have deployed some Industry 4.0 projects, not just for safety applications, but general operational excellence and lean initiatives. And what we have found and what we hear resoundingly from a lot of these clients is how complex and really daunting taking on these projects can be. Right? It's difficult to tell what's true value versus what's smoke and mirrors. And it's unfortunately not too uncommon to hear from clients that have attempted to make a deployment, end up with a production system that is less efficient and less effective than the one they started with. And so that causes a lot of our clients to be very risk adverse in making any kind of significant investment in technologies like this. We see that, deployments get made, they seem to be adding value, then, the MES system gets upgraded, an ERP system gets upgraded, pieces of the production system get upgraded, and that initial investment doesn't scale, right? And it ends up being a complete rip and replace, and now you're stuck with a complete sunk cost. So that is the journey that Collinear Group helps our clients with, right? How do we provide innovative solutions that are seamless and add immediate value today while ensuring that we're future-proofing you for tomorrow, effectively adding one digital thread at a time? And this is no small feat, right? We always say it's like changing the wheels on a bus while it's going full speed on the highway. How do you not disrupt your existing production system while you're adding improvements to it? And, that's the reason why we're so excited to be partnering with Ubisense and leveraging their smart space platform as part of our toolkit, because we find that it's extremely flexible, scalable, expandable, and allows us to provide our clients the type of seamless solutions they're looking for, regardless of where they're at in their production system journey. And we had the opportunity to demonstrate that capability last fall in what could be considered one of the most complex, if not the most complex environments in the world. So circling back to safety, we all know that in our industry, safety is a culture, and nobody demonstrates that better than the Boeing company, where one safety injury is one too many. Collinear Group is proud to be a gold supplier for the Boeing company. We have over a decade of doing substantial business with them. And again, we typically get called in for the very complex and challenging problems that they face. So when we got a call last fall to see if we could come in and help them assess some of their existing safety protocols and procedures on the assembly floor, we couldn't think of a better opportunity than to bring in Ubisense and leverage their smart space platform software to really demonstrate the flexibility, right, and seamless ability to integrate with this environment. Now, for anybody that's not familiar with the Everett factory, a few fun facts. It is the largest manufacturing facility in the world. It can host up to 30,000 people at any given time. So back to Adrian's points on his slides, that is a vast amount of space, right, and potential for people to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong thing. So for an organization that has the very ambitious goal of having zero workplace injuries, this environment poses some of the most extreme challenges you can face. So what did we do and how do we do it? We'll take you on a bit of a journey here between the physical space and the digital space, just to give you context. So on the left, you see the actual aircraft on the shop floor and a few people standing next to that. On the right, you're seeing the digital representation of that same aircraft in smart space, again, all in 3D. You see those digital avatars there in the back. Those are actually the same people standing next to that aircraft. They're just being monitored through sensors, and we'll cover that here in a little bit. Once the model is in smart space and we got the full, three-dimensional environment modeled in, we can overlay these boxes, right? These digital safety zones effectively. So you see that green box there. That is a digital safety zone that we can monitor, again, real time, all in 3 dimensions, such that if somebody is there when they're not supposed to be, we can sense it in real time and alert the production system. So this is just a quick video to demonstrate the scale, right, and kind of immersing you in the digital world here of smart space. So again, here's the entire aircraft with all the high hazard areas, with digital safety zones around them, the engines, the wings, the tail, and you see people moving around. Again, those are real people and the avatars. And here's now a little clip of smart space in action, right? Again, all 3-dimensional. You can see how quickly it is to create those bounding boxes, right? Those safety zones, again, all in 3D. And here's an example of why we keep saying 3 dimensions. So here's a pair of people. Again, this is our digital representation walking under that, and nothing happens. And that is by design, right? That is a 9 to 10 feet, that horizontal stabilizer, 9 to 10 feet above the ground. So you'd have to be on a lift or a ladder. And conversely, here's an individual that has stepped into a digital safety zone that's by the engine, and you can see that turned red, right? So that they're not authorized to be there. We've sensed that they're not authorized to be there, and we can set an alert. So this gives you the digital context of how smart space and these digital safety zones work. So now, before I dive into the actual use case of what we did on the shop floor, I do want to take a second again just to emphasize, right, the complex environment of this facility, all the existing IT infrastructure in an environment like this with, frankly, a very robust safety process that already existed. So we were extremely focused on ensuring that we were not disrupting, right, but rather enhancing everything that existed already in this production system. So what you see on the left is the dashboards that the crew chief would see. And this is exactly as it exists today, except it's digitized, right? So it's just much more rigorous and robust fail-safe mechanisms in place where it's all automated. So the crew chief would come in, automate, or one click, enable all the safety zones, and then the crew would be deployed out to the various areas on the shop floor. Again, they're all wearing sensors, and these can be easily worn in multiple ways. So you see there in the middle, the gentleman wearing it like a wristwatch. It could be worn on, you see the gentleman on the right wearing it on the shoulder there on the vest. You could wear it on a lanyard. So multiple ways to seamlessly deploy these sensors on folks on the shop floor. And then what you're seeing in the middle is the physical use case that you saw in the previous video there at the end, right? So this individual is in a digital safety zone that they're not authorized to be in, right? So again, this could be they're doing a functional test, they're doing an assembly task, and this is a high hazard area, and this person should not be there. And in this case, we wired up the alert to what was essentially an ear-piercing alarm that you could hear through the entire factory. We actually had folks come in from other bays asking us what we were up to. The point is it left zero doubt that somebody was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's exactly the way the management team wanted it. On the upper right, you're seeing that we also integrated it with existing communication protocols, emails, text messages, right on your smartphone, smartwatch. We could incorporate this into whatever communication means, again, exists in the production system. And on the right, you're now seeing the nominal case, right? So this person is authorized to be there for the functional test or be there for whatever the task at hand is. So no alarm, no emails, no text messages. And it's very common when we do these kind of deployments, and that was the same case here, creative juices start flowing, right? So we get a lot of, hey, could you do this? Could you add that? Can we, do a different use case? So we actually ended up doing a separate use case that wasn't part of the original scope, which was FOD, right? So that involves any tools, parts, kits that are left out on the assembly area after a shift. Again, the crew chief could come in, one click, the software would scan the entire area, identify any FOD that could lead to safety hazards or quality issues, and collect those and put them into storage before the next shift. Now, Adrian, I know you didn't get an opportunity to see this live yourself, But just to, for us to put this in context, again, the environment we're dealing with all the existing IT infrastructure, with all the already existing rigorous safety protocols, and to have our teams be able to come in and within days develop this model, right, and deploy it just to do this proof of concept was extremely impressive to me.
And so Alex, did you have to add any functionality that wasn't already present in the kind of operational machinery to do this safety application?
No, again, all very seamless, right? And this is why we're so excited to be leveraging this technology for other clients. Again, this is exactly the type of things that we hear from clients all the time, right? Can you provide seamless solutions, do not disrupt the existing production system, and help us ensure that we're future-proof into tomorrow? And I mean, again, it doesn't get more complex in this environment. So to be able to do it in a couple of days was really impressive.
Yeah, that's great. And that kind of brings my summary here, and doing it that quickly is key as well. So safety in the IIoT era, I suppose, it's not this, right? So this is key. It's not a question of digital operational platforms that allow you to put together applications like asset management, tool accountability, compliance monitoring, etc. And then separately, you are able to digitize safety as well, and do things like lockout, tagout that we just talked about here, and collision avoidance and so forth. And together those combine to create operational excellence, right? It's not that. It could be. That would be a bad way to do it. It's not this either. And you could, hearing what we've talked about, you could hear it this way as well, which is if you adopt the right digitization platform, the right IoT platform, it will have the capability to do operational type things and safety type things. It's not that. It's this, that in principle, there is no difference between what it takes to be safe and what it takes to be efficient, right? All of the ways you can be unsafe are around people being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's a very common operational issue as well. So as I said, it's a subset, right? And what happens is when you adopt a platform that gives you those eyes and ears on the ground, that real-time view of what's actually happening on the shop floor, you can leverage both things, and safety simply just becomes part of the roadmap. And you can look at these applications like a roadmap of adoption as well, adding a use case at a time. And as Alex said, oftentimes really quite quickly, once the primary infrastructure is in place, putting these new applications together is really a matter of configuration over a few days. So the takeaway message is, look, why is this the case? Well, maybe safety is not an S word after all. There's no need to think about it separately. When you consider safety applications as a fairly straightforward configuration of an existing operational platform that fits in seamlessly and you could do in days, it completely changes the ROI. It completely stops safety being just a cost center and fully integrates it within your digitization strategy. And that's the message we want you to hear here is safety and operations, one and the same once it's all digital. So if that's pretty much it here, if you want to hear some more, then we're doing some live demos. If you want to grab your phones out now, you can sign up. If you want to scan this QR code over here right off the screen, that'll take you to a spot where you can sign up for some live interactive demos of this and other applications as well. If you're interested in finding out more, there are demos going on this afternoon. You can also find our virtual booth through the sponsors portal or through the exhibition. You can sign up for the demos here as well. Click here to join one that's already going. And if you're interested in, I mentioned in last year's presentation where we talked a little bit about the notion of location intelligence as a tool for improving rate. You can find that over here too. So with that, I'll thank you, and thanks to everyone at PNAA for letting us do this, and
good day, everyone.
for keeping the lights on all the way through this.
My name is Brad Williams, Sales Director with Ubisense, responsibility for taking our products to market in the aerospace industry in North America.